What is going on, Flyers fans? Welcome in to Clear the Ice. I'm Big Al. I'm here with you guys tonight for your Flyers post-game show brought to you by Edge of Philly Sports. Clear the Ice is here to talk with you a little tough Flyers loss tonight, 4-2 loss. Much tighter game than this score lets on. Flyers lose to the Nashville Predators in the Wells Fargo Center and South Philly tonight, 4-2. It was one of the scrappy, hard-fought games, but towards the end of the game, especially in the third period, the Predators definitely seemed to have the momentum going in their favor. Had the Flyers kind of playing on the back of their heels, and ultimately had enough to push this game ahead. And then we'll go through the scoring process here with you guys tonight as well. We'll talk to you guys about the Flyers. We have one more game coming up before the holiday break against the Red Wings in Detroit tomorrow, and then that'll be it until right before New Year's there. But we will be here with you the whole way. Yo, Angry Ant, what's going on? One of my best buds there, Angry Ant, what's going on? Tough loss for the boys, the Fly guys tonight. Ends their point streak too. I think it was at 9, so ends their point streak at 9. But these games, man, it really gives you, it really puts into light how good this young Flyers team. Yo, Ryan, how good this young Flyers team has come along. Um, y- a lot of these games that they're hard fought, tough, grinding out games. Now they lost this one, but they're not losing a lot, and they're giving teams a run for their money. And this team is really just continues to grow and mature in front of our eyes, and it's just fun. It's just fun to watch them, even though they are losing. Yes, and nothing at all. Just watching the Flyers lose. It's a tough play. It was a tough game tonight. A little scary moments with Morgan Frost as well. Took a header, or got a major penalty called upon him because of the boarding call. We'll talk about that in a moment, and we'll go through the scoring and how tight this game was from the get. And Mitch, what's up, buddy? What's up, Mitchy Poo? Guys, if you missed it tonight, you can go back and watch it. Fly Like an Eagle podcast was on tonight with Mitch, and always does an amazing job. And you catch him on a lot of the Sixers post game shows and Eagles post game shows as well. So let's talk about this. And before we get into it, real quick, guys, if you want to see the Flyers in action, you can go to phillysportstrips.com and check out the great Stadium Series trip they have set up. Guys, it is only days before Christmas, and there's sometimes you forget to buy something, or there's a sports fan you didn't know what to get them. This is a great gift. You don't have to leave your house. You don't have to go to a store. You don't have to wrap anything. You just maybe print out something that says, "Here you go, dad, brother, mother, sister, whoever, cousin." You're going to go to the 2024 Stadium Series hockey trip out at MetLife Stadium with Philly Sports Trips on the 17th of February. It is an amazing time. If you've never been there, guys, it is an awesome time if you've ever done one of these outdoor games. Philly Sports Trips has it. PhillySportsTrips.com has a lot. If you want to get that present, maybe a little warm Florida spring training games, there's a couple options for you at PhillySportsTrips.com. Heck, if you really like them and you want to head over to London and check out the Phillies London game in June, Phillies Mets London game in June. There's a lot to do with PhillySportsTrips.com, and tell them EOP sent you. So let's go through some of the scoring things. I have some notes here I want to go over with you guys. Break it all down. Let's start with that first goal. So if you guys kind of came in late, maybe coming home from work or something, and you missed that first goal, what a dirty goal, but it's a goal nonetheless. But it was just one of those fun, dirty type of goals. And so for those who missed it, it was Morgan Frost. Bobby Brink kind of sends it back around behind the net. Morgan Frost is battling out behind the net. The puck deflects off his skate over the back of the net into the back of Suarez and rolls back into the net. Dirty goal, but not goal nonetheless. And the Flyers put the first score on the board, and the only score on the board in the first period. Brink and Tippett both get an assist on the call. But like I said, it's one of those goals. If it's your goal, awesome. That's cool. If it's against you, you're pissed. It's a dirty goal that you can't control. It's one of those uncontrollable goals. Somebody didn't make a mistake. It's just the way that we call puck luck. It's the old term puck luck. I think I've used that term a few times this week, not even in hockey situations. Joe's chiming in here. Joe, what's going on, Joe? I love the play of Coots in the past few weeks. I love the play of this team for the most part in the last few weeks, but yes, um, it's like the vets are feeding off the young players, man. They are feeding just off the energy and the play and like this. I don't know what you guys thought about us being bad this year mentality, but we're not going to be as bad as you guys think we are. And we'll talk about, I know it's early, it's still December, talking about seeding and records and all that stuff. But just knowing like just little things that this team has done, they definitely have to work on their power play. They have to work on playing it ahead and controlling the tempo of the game sometimes. But certain things like these 1-goal games, like look at this. They have 4 straight games decided by 1 goal. Normally, that means 4 straight losses for the Flyers. So take those things into consideration, how mature and how well the young guys are playing, how the vets are feeding off of them, how you're getting great goalie play from both Hart and Urson, who was in net tonight. We'll talk about that in a few moments. But altogether, like even on a tough loss like we had tonight, and we'll break it down. Like I'll tell you how tight this game truly was. 4-2 does not tell you that story, but it's just they're fun to watch. It's just fun to watch this team. Like I came into this year with the thought process of I'm not caring about wins and losses. I'm caring about how this team matures and grows. So, and I'm seeing that, and we're getting wins out of the deal. So it's kind of a good feeling to have when sometimes some of the good feeling in the other parts of Philly sports have been a little low lately. Angry Ant saying that first goal was sick. Like I said, and this is the kind of thing if it happened against us, you'd be angry Ant. Right now, you're happy Ant. Like so, like I get it, but it's just it was a fluky, dirty goal. But hey, as long as it goes in the favor of the Flyers, I don't care because there was a few calls tonight or let's say non-calls that especially towards the end of the game that kind of should have happened but didn't happen. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. But but that was the one that was the one time, at least in this game, where the puck luck was definitely on the side of your Fly Boys, your black and orange attack here. The first goal reminded the movie Mighty Ducks. Yeah, Joe. Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. It's just it's a listen, you couldn't make that happen. You couldn't set that up to happen. That was just like I said, perfect storm of hockey shenanigans. Like that's the best way of putting it. Hey guys, if you're following us and listening along, please, if you're on Twitter, tweet or subscribe or follow YouTube, Facebook, all that. We'll be on Instagram Live soon as well. Live as well, coming in the new year as to check us out there. So be another way of watching us, as well as check out eopsports.com. Always live on there. Check it out. Al Erickson had a good game. Yeah, he did. He had a good game. But we'll get into that. But so that's your first and only goal of the first period. Flyers are up 1-0 going into the second. Then the Preds tied up. Cole Smith ties it up 1-1 with a shorthanded goal. So like that's kind of a giveaway goal. Like shorthanded goals should never happen. It's like one of those things that should never happen. But they caught the Flyers off guard. Cole Smith shorthanded goal with assist from Sissons. He ties that game right up. But not much later, Sean Couturier, Coots, we're talking about him right there, slides the puck through the 5-hole. When you got Soros kind of reaching out, poking at the puck in front of the net. Unassisted goal, 2-1. Flyers are back on top, but not long, only less than a minute later. I guess you would call him the star of the game, Philip Tomasino, ties the game up 2-2 with a 2-1 advantage. With him and Novak, backhand shot puts the game back tied, knotted up at 2-2, and that would be all the scoring you would see in the second period, which was the heaviest period for scoring. But it was kind of this back and forth game. No team seemed out of it. At this point, when that goal came, that's kind of when you started to see the Predators pressing, even though They had a lot of penalties, a lot of power play opportunities for your Flyers, which we're going to talk about in a moment. Um, but they did not really take advantage of all 5 of those opportunities. So that's kind of where the Flyers are still struggling. It is what it is, but it's something where where the maturity needs to continue to grow, taking advantage of these man advantages. I mean, you had a 5-minute major, which you lost about minute and a half of it because of a penalty that wiped the man advantage away. Angry Ant saying, at least we're not talking about the Eagles and getting all worked up. Man, today I try to talk as little about the Eagles as possible. I mean, listen, in our career, like not talking about the Eagles is impossible, or tweeting out about it, or talking with other people and doing it. We do interviews all the time, so I can't not talk about it. But I try my best to just kind of like I'm trying to reset myself about that, but I'm not going to get on that tangent about it. But yeah, good point. That brings us to the third. So, like I said, this is a close game. First 2 periods, tied game at the end of the second period. Brings us to the third period. Let me pull up this here. Now they scored twice in the third, but Tomasino with his second goal would put the winning goal. It had the only goal that they really needed. With a few minutes left in the game, kind of came in on time, like about 3 minutes left in the game, I should say. Really kind of put the Flyers on their heels. And Tomasino had his second goal, another assist from Sissons for the night. Just gave them the lead, and the only lead they needed for 3 minutes of the game was the only lead that the Predators needed, and 3 minutes was enough. They pulled the goalie with about 2 minutes left. Flyers had some opportunities, did not capitalize, of course, on those opportunities. And then Nyquist had the empty netter with about a second left. Like, he got the puck away and just threw a stat on his stat board for him real quick at the end. So, like I said, the 4-2 does not really represent what this game was all about. It was a much tighter game, a very chippy but hard fought game. And this is the kind of games we see with these guys, these young guys. Like, they just never seem like they're out of it. And not to bring up the Eagles again, something we talked about in the past when they were, 10-1 or 9-1 and things like that. But this team is just never seems to be out of it. Like I said, they had 4 straight games. I guess this is 5 straight games that were decided by 1 goal. Yeah. But they're not out of it. And 7 of the last 11 games went into OT. So that just showed you how tight these games are. And let's be honest, any fan on here who's been a fan of the Flyers for more than, I don't know, 10 years or 10 years or more, that when it comes to shootouts and OT, but especially shootouts, it's not really always been the Flyers' forte. But we got to see, we're seeing a change. Like, we're changing the guard in that sense. Like the mentality of this team, the philosophy of this organization, which that's just a huge step in the right direction. Huge step in the right direction. I mean, here's a stat for you. They were 1-4-1 in the first 6 1-goal games of the season. They only won 1, lost 4, but that's it. But in the last 8 games, they won 6, and only lost tonight for the first time, and then two tied games. But that's this Flyers. That's the scrappiness of this Flyers, the way they're playing hockey. And then, guys, if you're not following us on Twitter, we're putting out some stuff about Cutter. We're putting out some stuff about Mitch Koff. Like, watching these young guys grow, it's pretty amazing. Watching these guys, can't wait to get them here, because just seeing the action we're getting from the guys that without them here, I would love to see what happens adding them in into the roster. But let's look at some of the stats here, and real quick before we get into those stats, I want to remind you guys that this post-game show, Clear the Ice, is brought to you by Sherry'sTickets.com. That's right, Sherry's Tickets, family owned and operated since 1946. Sports, concerts, theaters, you name it, they have tickets for it. I don't care if you're in the Philadelphia area, they have it for you. Go to sherrystickets.com. Great prices, no hidden fees. And then you can save 10% off using that awesome promo code EOP10. That's right. EOP10 will save you 10% off at sherrystickets.com. Again, EOP10 at sherrystickets.com. Let's see. Oh, hey, Dave. What's going on, Dave? Hey, Al, I love the fact that they're competitive and fun to watch. Tough loss tonight. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know if like any loss has been tough for me to watch yet because the expectations were so low going into this season. I've talked about this with Matty B. I've talked this with Pat and Mike on Sundays. That like I said earlier on, I said like going into this season, I had zero expectations. I just wanted to see these guys grow. Some people were upset when the Flyers started winning, and I keep pointing out the fact, you don't have to just draft your way to a winning team. They have some really good pieces. So let's get the best out of these guys. The guys are either going to be big time players for the Flyers in the future, or they're going to be big time trade pieces that are going to bring in the next big pieces for the Flyers. So just enjoy the ride. Like enjoy the ride. And like, we all thought, okay, October. They always have that kind of that hot streak in the first 10 games, like in October. And then November and December really, starts to shoot down. But they've just been in it. They've always been in it. Yeah. And like I said, tough loss, but not but you still saw a lot of growth from them in these games. And that's what's important here. There's going to be a parade. Flyers or Sixers going to win a championship. Listen, yeah, you got two. The Wells Fargo teams are just. I was at the Sixers game last night. Watching that game. Watching Embiid just do some crazy stuff. I mean, that man, watching that man work is it's magical. But I'm not going to get into that too much. But maybe you'll have not this year, but you'll have within close to each other two parades. One black and orange and one blue and red going down Broad Street. That'd be amazing. Let's see, Matty B with the great stats: 11 for 101 on power plays through 32 games. If that's just slightly better, we have at least 6 or 7 more wins. Still a rebuild till it is fixed. Matty B, 100%. And like I said, like early on, I don't know if you were watching in the beginning. That's one of the big areas of maturity that they still need to work on. Getting that. I agree with you. If they got that under control, there's at least, I'd say at least 5. I can think of 5 games. I mean, this is one of those games. This is a win. This game's a win if their power play is just slightly better. As I said earlier, they were 0 for 5 tonight, and one of them was a 5-minute major when Morgan Frost got his face shoved in the boards. The Predators were called for boarding, gave him the 5-minute major. At first, they gave him 2 minutes. They talked about it for a moment, brought it back, and they really deliberated on it for a while, but ultimately gave him the 5-minute major. But about a minute and a half of that 5-minute major was taken away from us because of Cam Atkinson slashing against Cole Smith, which really kind of ended up, just kind of negating a minute and a half of that power play. But yeah, they were 0 for 5 tonight on the power play. Season series, Nashville, unfortunately, has the sweep of the season series 2-0. They lost 3-2 in OT back in December 12th. And then, of course, tonight, losing 4-2. But let's look at some of the other stats here. Matty always coming in with the good stuff. Shots on goal was even, 31-31. The first 2 periods favored the Flyers, but like I said, the Predators kind of took over in the third period, kept the Flyers working from behind. Let's see. Atkinson should sit. His offense has disappeared. Yeah, he's struggling. He had a chance for an opportunity, a good chance. I believe in this late second, early third, Matty B. A good chance to kind of get that monkey off his back, if that's what you want to call it. But no, his offense has just completely disappeared. Predators won the face-off by almost 52%. They were 1 for 4 on their power play. We were 0 for 5. Again, like Matty B said, like that's a big number. 11 for 101. I mean, that burns. I mean, the last time the Flyers were like really had any kind of cup expectations was back in the bubble, and before the pandemic shut down, they were like killing it on the power play. It was like some like historical power play numbers. Like I said, the penalty minutes, the Predators 21 to Flyers 10. That was a big difference. Didn't take advantage of it. The hits were pretty even, 16 to 15, favoring the Flyers. Block shots, Flyers continue to block the shots, 12 to 10. Giveaways were even at 5-5, and takeaways were 4-1 in favor of the Predators. Guys, I want to thank you for joining me tonight. It's 4-2 Flyers loss, lose the season series to the Predators. I want to thank our great sponsors, guys. If I don't see some of you until later, enjoy your holiday. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, and all that stuff. But I'm sure I'll be seeing you before then. But other than that, guys, thank you for joining us. Flyers drop at 4-2, and have a great weekend.